Chassidic gems on Parshas Bhaaloscha. It says in the Torah, Bhaaloscha, it says in the Torah, Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe Leimer, Hashem spoke to Moshe, and tell Aaron, when you light the menorah, exactly how to do it. Moshe Rabbeinu instructed Aaron exactly how to light the menorah in the Mishkan. Vayas Kain Aaron, and Aaron did exactly as Moshe Rabbeinu instructed him. And Rashi says, Vayas Kain Aaron, lahagit shivchei shel Aaron sheleishina. This comes to teach us that praise of Aaron, sheleishina, he did not do anything differently. Exactly as he was instructed, he did. Comes to my mind now a famous story that when Reb Aaron Kotler, Zechet Tzaddik Livrocha, was nifter, the Satmarov eulogized him. And he said this Rashi, Lahagit shivchei shel Aaron sheleishina. He said the praise of Aaron Reb Aaron Kotler, that he didn't change. He kept the Mesorah, the tradition, as it was, and he didn't change. That was the way the Satmarov was maspid Reb Aaron Kotler, Zechet Tzaddik Livrocha. But getting back to the pasuk itself, the pasuk stresses that Aaron did exactly as Aaron HaKohen did exactly as Moshe Rabbeinu instructed him. He didn't change. That's the simple. The Chassidic Torah have all kind of different things they want to learn from this pasuk, from this Rashi. Shina means change, didn't change. Shalosh Shina. But there are other translations of Shina. For instance, the Gemara says by the Megillah, the Gemara says, Megillah Esther, Chayev Odom Likroyas HaMegillah Balaylo, you have to read the Megillah at night, L'shnoisa Baboka. The next morning, you have to repeat it. So, L'shanoisa and Shinoi, Shalashina, Shina, is the same word. So we have a new translation now. He didn't repeat it. In other words, that when Aaron HaKohen lit the menorah, the 10th time, the 20th time, the 30th time, it was never a repeat. It was never a repeat. He always did it, the 20th time, 30th time, 40th time, was as if he did it the first time, with the same care and caution to do it right. So that's how we have to learn to do a mitzvah. It should always be never a repeat. It's the first time we're doing it, and with all the zahiras. I remember there was a bar mitzvah bacha, and we just got bar mitzvah, and he put on tefillin for the first time. His father told me that when he put on the tefillin the first time, he was like shaking. He was so enthusiastic and so cautious and careful, knowing he's doing a mitzvah of the Torah. And the first time he did it, it was with such enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm should, according to this in translation, that it means repeat. It was never a repeat. It should always be the 20th time, 30th time we do a mitzvah, we should do it as if it's the first time. Continuing with Chassidic gems on Parshas Bhaaloscha. Continuing with the same Rashi that Aaron HaKohen did not change, he did exactly as he was commanded. Perhaps we have another interpretation that Aaron, after he did the mitzvah, he could have really showed, he could have really bodily seemed to have been totally different after he did the mitzvah, or while he was doing the mitzvah. Could have been so enthused, but no. The Chassidic Torah says that Aaron, you couldn't tell any shinui. The word shina would mean shinui, any change. You couldn't see any change, any hispilus during the mitzvah. Sometimes a person does a mitzvah, he really could start shaking, and it was totally internal. The greatness of Aaron's doing this mitzvah, totally internal. Not external at all. And that's the way we have to do mitzvahs. We have to do mitzvahs internally and not show ourselves doing mitzvahs where others might be able to see. Continuing with Chassidic gems on Parshas Bhaaloscha. It says in the Torah that the Leviim replaced the Bechorim. The Bechorim used to be the ones that are the closest to Hashem, the firstborn. But the Torah says, Nisunim Heimali, for they are given to me out of from among the children of Israel, instead of the firstborn. Nisunim, given to me. And Rashi says, Nisunim, what's the repetition here? Nisunim lemasa, Nisunim l'shir. They are given for carrying. The Leviim had to carry the furniture of the Mishkan. They were given for carrying, and they were given for singing. They had sung during the Avodah in the Mishkan. That's the simple. The Chassidic Torah tell us, the Rav HaKodesh Reb Chaim Meir Mivizhnitz says, despite the fact that they were involved in carrying, which is a load, they didn't stop singing and thanking and praising Hashem. Even if you're doing hard work, you have to be able to sing and thank Hashem for the privilege of serving Him. Continuing with Chassidic gems on Parshas Bhaaloscha, it says in the Pasuk, Perik Tes, Pasuk Yud. It says, Daber el b'nei Yisrael, v'yadaber Hashem el Moshe leimer. Hashem spoke to Moshe, Ish ki yiyeh tomei l'nefesh. If a person had become defiled by reason of a dead body, he became tomei. Ay b'derech rechaika, or in a distant way, he was far away. Lochem ay l'derisechem, either you or your generations. Can he still possibly bring a Korban Pesach? Yes. He can bring Pesach Sheni. B'chodesh HaSheni, he can bring the Korban Pesach. That's the simple. Ki yiyeh tomei l'nefesh. Oy b'derech rechaika. If a person will be defiled or will be at a distant way, far away, and he can't bring the Korban Pesach, he can still bring the Korban Pesach. That's the simple. The Chassidic Torah are telling us, you know what could make a person tomei? You know what could defile a person? Or, you know what could keep this person b'derech rechaika, at a distance? He's not doing the right thing. You know what it is? Lochem, yourself. A person who's only interested in himself, that brings tumah, that makes him be tomei, and that makes him be b'derech rechoika. He's far from Hashem, he's far from what he should be, and it's all because lochem, because he is only interested in himself, for you, for himself. He's only worried about himself. He doesn't try at all. He doesn't understand that we have to help each other out. We have to help people. And that's the source, that's the reason that a person could become tomei lo nefesh, or b'derech rechoika, or a distance from Hashem. So that's the limud that we have to learn. We cannot think only about ourselves. We have to see to help others. We should be zeicher to this. Amen. Continuing with Chassidic gems on Parshas Bhaaloscha, the Torah says that if somebody is tomei lo nefesh or b'derech rechoika, somebody defiled himself to a mace, to a dead body, or he's too far, he can't bring, and he couldn't bring the Korban Pesach, we give him a chance to bring it in the next month, b'chodesh hasheni. But the pasuk says, for ha'ish asher hu toher, but somebody who was clean, he wasn't defiled, he didn't defile himself. U'v'derech lo hoya, he wasn't far away. V'chod al asais haPesach, and he didn't bring the Korban Pesach, and the Torah continues to speak about him. But we're talking about a ish asher hu toher, a person that's clean. U'v'derech lo hoya, he wasn't far away. That's the simple. The Chassidic Torah are saying, the person that thinks that he made it, Asher hu toher, I'm the greatest. Asher hu toher, I am the greatest. I am clean. U'v'derech lo hoya, and that person is not on the right derech. If a person thinks he made it already, he's not over derech lo hoya. He missed the boat. He's on the wrong derech. A person should never think that he made it, that he's toher. There's nothing wrong with him. A person should never think that way, because if he does, he's on the wrong track. Sikum, a summary of the Hashkafas HaTorah that we learned in the Chassidic gems. We learned that a person should strive to do mitzvahs not in a manner where he repeats himself. He should always be as if he's doing it the first time. And that person that's doing it always the first time will be so careful and so cautious and so enthusiastic that it'll be different than just doing it again and again and again. It should never be a repeat. It should always be as if it's the first time. We also learned that a person, when he does mitzvahs, don't worry about the externals. Don't try to externally show that you're doing mitzvahs. But you're doing the mitzvahs should be totally internal. Nobody has to see. It's between you and Hashem. Nobody has to see that you're not doing it for anybody. You're only doing it for Hashem. So it should be totally internal. We also learned that despite the fact that sometimes we have to go to work and we have to carry burdens and everything, but we should still be able to sing and thank Hashem for everything. Let not our difficult burdens make it too difficult to praise and sing and thank Hashem for everything. We also learned that if a person is only interested in himself, he has no desire to help others, if he's only interested in himself, that brings the person to become tomei, to be defiled, to be not good, and that causes the person to distance himself from Hashem. It all stems from the fact that he only cares about himself. Then we learned that if a person thinks he made it already. The Torah is so big and so great and so Mayim she'ein lo hemsoif. There's never-ending waters. If a person thinks he made it, I'm going to relax, I'm going to take it easy, that person is not on the right track. We should be zecher to all these beautiful hashkafas, Chassidic hashkaf from the Chassidic gems. Amen v'amen.